Welcome back. It is Sunday in San Francisco. I wanted to do a video on watering and how thick the moss mounds are. A lot of people, when they first get Neos, they might end up killing them and then they get discouraged, but I kind of killed a lot of them. So I have a lot of experience and now I've kind of got a balance. I figured out the system. I cracked the code, at least in my own home. So I wanted to compare these two plants. This one is my Tamakongo. It is I think this was my first Neofinetia. This is my most recent one. It is still freaking out in my home, figuring it itself out. Um, right now, it is crispy dry. It is dry inside the hollow mound, and it's crispy on the outside. So, when you first get new plants, you make the moss mound, and then you wait. So I have this period where I time how long the moss takes to get crispy dry. The magic number that I've decided is 4. So in my home, if it's still damp and soft on day 4, it means my moss mound is too thick. And I'm talking about in the growth season, like spring and summer when it's warmer. And I will remove some moss until the next time it dries. It's crispy dry by the 4th day. If it's still damp, it means either you have to change something up where your pot's not giving it enough airflow. You might need to switch to terracotta so it absorbs the moisture faster. You might need a net pot under it to keep the moss mound, the cavity open. So there's a lot of things you could do to experiment and make things dry faster. My home is not a place with greenhouse fans. The airflow is not great. It is always kind of colder. So I am very careful with mold and these moss mounds just staying wet too long. This one I have figured out how thin to make the moss. This one I still am experimenting. I took away a lot of moss, but it's still, some of the roots are rotting inside and, it's hollow and there's lots of airflow. So I took off some more and right now it's kind of, this is as far as I can get. I think when the roots grow in and there's more roots like this one, there's a lot of roots here, it'll absorb the moisture a little faster and then I can make the moss mound a little bit more even. It's always root health over aesthetic. Like, don't try to make these moss mounds look good and then kill your plant in the process. So that's what I learned in my previous 2 years of having these. So the 4-day rule applies in the growing season when it's warm, spring, summer. When it's winter, I think it kind of slows down. The roots here, you see, they used to be more colored. The Rhizantamba has kind of ruby roots, but they look like they're sealing off, kind of slowing down. So when it gets cold like this, I don't expect it to dry in 4 days. But I also don't want to water it where I'm drenching these and they're taking forever to dry. So I'll water them as normal. I don't use fertilizer in the winter. If they're not growing and it's not warm and it's not really doing anything, I don't see why I need to add fertilizer. So I just don't. Damn, I lost my train of thought. ADHD. Oh, right, watering. So these have been dry. I think I actually forgot to check in on these. Usually I keep my watering on a schedule where I don't track to see when I need to water. I track to see when I last water, and that is a huge difference, and it will save you in the long run on you'll just kill less orchids this way. So this is not to tell me when to water, it's to tell me when to check. So I'll notice that, like, for example, my Neofinetia, I last watered them on the 21st. I think today is maybe the 7th or the 8th, and that's quite a long time. So I might want to water these tomorrow. I skipped today because it's really cold, and I just feel like super cold. Watering them is just, it's just scary to me. So I'll wait until tomorrow when it'll be a few degrees warmer, and I'll water them in the shower in the morning. I usually blow dry all the crevices with a hair dryer. And then I'll go in with a Q-tip or paper towels. Some might say that's crazy, you just turn on a fan, but in my cold environment, I don't really want to be blowing a fan with cold air at my plant. So these are really expensive and really special orchids, so I don't understand why people think it's extra to put in extra work to make sure that all the leaves are perfect, clean, and dry. So I don't know if this video is going to help anyone. I'll probably have to redo this video at some point, but you know, everybody's still alive and looking okay. Um, Last point before I make this video any longer, the algae you see on these pots. I just take a paper towel with some hydrogen peroxide and I just wipe this. That's how I keep my pots relatively not fully green. I really don't like that look. I really don't like algae on my pots. Um, but sometimes you just can't help it, you know. That's just the part of owning plants. It's nature and that's just what's gonna happen. So if it happens, it happens. But if I can get rid of it, I will. It's my house, my plants, my rules. All right, guys. See you next time.